We're just trying to keep everything moving, but again, no penalty. So if you go like 2 seconds over, nobody's gonna mark you off a point. And we'll have a couple of judges, and then of course at the end of the day, we'll be announcing our winners, our audience choice, and all of those fun things. All right, so up there you have your podium. There's also a clicker up there if you have more than one slide. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our first speaker here. All right, so first we have Summer Hall and Elizabeth Lamb on developing a customizable and targeted thermal therapy device for joint disorders inspired by Hawaiian hot stones. So if you could give her a hand, and if you can come up to our front podium, thank you.
Good morning, my name is Isabel.
And my name is Summer.
And our proposal today plans to tackle knee pain. Joint pain in general is a condition that affects the quality of life of much many people. These may include athletes, people with physically demanding jobs, and older people. However, these are not just limited to these groups of people.
For example, my father, who is a firefighter at the Guadalupe Fire Station, confirmed that many firefighters often face the issue of region-specific knee pain, especially after long shifts.
Therefore, we dedicated our project to helping individuals who experience knee pain have faster recovery and relief times. We plan to do this by incorporating thermal therapy into current knee braces. Hot therapy is beneficial for promoting blood circulation, which prevents further injury and promotes faster healing. Meanwhile, cold therapy reduces inflammation and swelling.
So currently, knee braces on the market do not offer thermal therapy mechanisms, and the ones that do are often very costly with set places of temperature that cannot be customizable. So our plan is to create a knee brace with different heating pads that can be adjusted for each client's needs.
We also want to promote sustainability among medical practices by reducing the time and resources needed to treat joint pain. Compared to the current region-specific products that treat joint pain on the market, our product is reusable. Some examples of disposable or single-use region-specific products include kinesiology tape, pacing patches, and topical heaters.
We hope to promote efficient joint healing and therapy for individuals of all backgrounds. We also want to encourage sustainable practices using reusable treatment options.
We hope to help athletes live to their fullest potential by not letting their injuries limit them. We also want to help boost the quality of life of workers such as Summer's dad, who have very physically demanding jobs, by making their injuries less substantial.
Even those who do not live active lives, such as the elderly within our community or people with joint disorders, can still utilize our product. Our product will minimize joint pain for people of all ages, increasing recovery times and allowing them to continue to spend quality time with their loved ones. Thank you.
All right, great job, girls. And if you have a question, if you could raise your hand, and I'll come around with the mic. Anybody have a question for that? Okay, Mr. Tate.
Thank you for a great presentation, you guys, and Paulo. Just what you kind of talked on you said your father was a firefighter, kind of innovation for that idea. What's the competitive devices that are out there now? What is your competitor? This thing you're proposing, is there a competition to this? What alternative?
Current knee braces on the market that utilize thermal therapy are in the couple $100 range, so we would like to create one that is cheaper. They also have fixed regions of pain, like you can't move them to where you're experiencing pain. However, we will have different sleeves for your heating pad to go and cooling pad, so you can choose where you want the region specific.
All right, thank you, girls. Let's give them one more hand and we'll talk about is Keely Kobayashi about Ike Loa. So if you could come up, Keely, thank you. Let's give her a hand.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Did you know that Native Hawaiians only compose of 20% of the population in Hawaii, but less than 4% make up the physician workforce? This inspired my idea of an app called Ike Loa, which in Olelo, Hawaii translates to the values of seeking knowledge, wisdom, and expanding learning. Ike Loa will include information about basic medical terminology, anatomy, biology, along with information about educational pathways, and medical careers. Ike Loa incorporates Olelo Hawaiian Aina-based approaches to health. Additionally, that will have a competition component like Duolingo, which allows and gives opportunities to the student to work with Native Hawaiian medical professionals, and this is for like the top ranking scores. And this kind of competition, helps students stay engaged so that they can keep the mindset throughout their medical journey. I also took inspiration from an app called Tuko Iho, developed in New Zealand. It uses culturally responsive approaches to help Maori women throughout their pregnancy journey. Ike Loa's main goal is to help Hawaii's high school students to learn more and be more familiar with the medical world. Native Hawaiian students may not want to pursue career medicine because they don't see representation and they don't see the values that they grew up with being translated into the medical field. In conclusion, Ike Loa benefits students because they become more confident in themselves when placed in medical and educational setting. Ike Loa also helps strengthen their communities by bringing people together through obtaining knowledge. Thank you for listening about my presentation, and does anyone have any questions?
All right, thank you so much. And then if you have a question, raise your hand and we can come over with our microphone. All right.
Thank you for that great presentation. I was curious, what do you foresee as the biggest challenges or obstacles to creating an app like this?
I think accessibility to people on the island, but I wanted to make it an app which can be on like all cellular devices because some schools they have laptops and some schools work with iPads, so just being accessible to everybody, and also just like getting the professionals to help me with this to make it efficient.
All right, thank you for the answer to that question. Thank you so much. All right, our next pitcher is Josh Naito about AI for healing Hawaii's homeless from Pearl City High School. Let's give him a hand.
Alright, hi everybody. My name is Josh Naito. I'm from Pearl City High School. In fact, do we have any Pearl City graduates here? Alright, great. Anyways, so my presentation is gonna just be about a AI machine learning to predict spots in homeless. So right now, homelessness is a big problem in Hawaii, as everyone here knows. So that's why a solution is to create a large language model that can predict areas in Hawaii who are struggling demographically with homelessness. From then, once a week, we can administer specialized volunteers who will go out to these places and will, instead of administering traditional pharmaceutics, we can administer traditional Hawaiian medicines and traditional Hawaiian practices. Now, I know there is a lot of other programs that are doing something similar, where they're going out to homeless shelters and they're giving them medicine. However, a problem of these is that they typically require follow-ups, and this is hard because homeless people, they move around a lot, and it's very hard to calculate and find out where they are, which is why if we use an AI model that can predict these spots of homeless, we can be able to better serve more people and better effectively get the treatment that they so much deserve. Thank you.
questions for Josh? Is that Nicole? You have one?
Hello, Josh. Yeah, it's an awesome proposal to address a challenge that so many of our community members are facing in Hawaii, and thinking about how we can provide healthcare, culturally relevant healthcare to these individuals. I'm curious, what kind of data you think you might use to train your model? Like, what do you think might be help to predict, the model might use to help predict where there could be higher concentrations of homeless populations, and how might the model like update with, like you said, people moving around?
That's a great question. So I think just to get a sort of baseline, we can ask local communities around Hawaii just to get a sense of like how are these areas and these regions dealing with homelessness. And then from there, I think we could go to local healthcare clinics and local homeless shelters to see their experience, and we could get data from them, both past and present. It would be kind of need to be more recent, but I think getting data from these areas will help the model a lot.
Anybody else with another question for Josh? Oh, Mr. Tate.
Thank you for a great presentation. Really well needed, and no matter what happens, man, this is really important that they're working on. Have you spoken with any of the local state agencies about something like this? I mean, this would be really valuable to them. Maybe actually have discussions like in the trenches, and that would be really valuable.
So I have not personally spoken to any of them, but I definitely would like to see some idea of this get implemented, because yeah, this is a pretty ongoing problem, and it would be great if we can get some kind of newer solution to this.
All right, thank you so much, Josh, for putting out there for now. All right, our next speaker here, we have Noah Ling and Hanuma Kota about Coco's Lucifera trimming machine. If you guys could come up, let's give them a hand.
Aloha, my name is Hanuma Kota. This is Noah Ling. We are representing Palaheo High School, and our project is the Coco's Lucifera trimming machine. Our goal for this project is to save the economical cost of cutting a cocoa tree and to reduce the manual labor required. Our machine is going to primarily function by using two primary motors and wheels and a spring lock mechanism, which will keep our device firmly in place around the tree. So regardless of the irregular tree width, which they tend to be wider often, get thinner the further up you go, the springs will keep it in place and allow us to do vertical ascension. Once we have that mechanic down, it opens up a range of possibilities, especially for potential standing. For example, one implementation we can think of is using cameras to identify coconut rhinoceros beetle infestations, an invasive species that threatens trees in Hawaii, and potentially recognize when that's happening. The coconut trimming industry is an incredibly lucrative business. This is due to the fact that trees over 60 feet can cost up to $1,800 to cost, as shown on the graph on the slide. So this is due to many reasons, the main reason being the labor, where someone needs to go up on a bucket truck, we call it, and then have to cut the trees by hand with a saw. This not only increases the cost, but this increases the risk of harm to a single person, and also increases the price. While this coconut trimming mechanism is a very local solution and very relevant to the Hawaiian coconut industry, since many people struggle to afford this massive cost, especially if they have multiple trees on their property, it is also relevant to the world in general, because coconut trees are found throughout tropical regions, including South America, Africa, India, Oceania. So we can see a lot of economic potential behind this. Thank you very much. Any questions?
All right, any questions for these people here? You can raise your hand.
Mahalo for your presentation. I was curious a little bit more about your personal motivation for creating this device, like why specifically these trees, like just a little bit more personal.
think it's something, for me personally, the reason I came up with this project is because I noticed, I always saw people either climbing trees with climbing gear, which, it takes a long time to set up, and, just in public in Kailua, I've seen large bucket trucks being used, and sometimes it's hard for those trucks to maneuver to certain locations. So I think having this device, which is very portable and easy to use, would just make it much easier. Not necessarily put coconut training services out of a job, but just give them a tool that would be less dangerous and potentially help them also reduce the cost and reduce the burden on Hawaii residents as a whole.
All right, we have another question here.
Thank you for that great question. It's a great idea, guys. You talked about with the Renaissance School, it is a huge issue here in Hawaii. How would this device help to identify? Is there a camera? Is it a color sensor? The beetles? How would it do that?
So there's multiple ways we would go about this. In the beginning stages, it will be camera-based, but due to the fact that AI is becoming more and more prevalent, we hope to eventually integrate that within our machine, which will save not only more time, as someone will not only have to be somewhat knowledgeable in this, it will be able to do it by itself. That was more of a forward-thinking step. For the most basic approach would just be cut the coconuts. That's the main goal. But that's something we thought of is, if we can accurately determine where the beetles are, can we just spray them and potentially spray only the areas where the beetle is to do precise targeting and not harm the tree.
All right, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, our next presenter is going to talk to us about the Kupa'a app, and that's going to be Laulima Perry. Hope I said that correct, from Kailua High School. If you could come up. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause.
Aloha mai kako o Lenkoi no Wanalawaya, Eleo Kikula o Kailua High School. Imagine exploring Hawaii's breathtaking landscapes and vibrant culture without leaving home. Welcome to Kupa'a, the app that guides you to responsible, respectful adventures helping protect Hawaii. Hawaii is facing overcrowding from tourism, which is negatively impacting our environment, culture, and local lifestyles. To address these challenges, a mobile app named Kupa'a is proposed, designed to educate tourists and promote responsible exploration. The app will provide real-time alerts about less crowded areas and provide location-based cultural education. The app will also provide cultural guidelines and direct tourists and local residents to community and local events. The app will help suggest safer alternatives to protected sites and offer location information on Hawaiian history, culture, and language. The app aims to heighten awareness of local environments to impact while encouraging participation in sustainability efforts. It will connect tourists to local events and volunteer opportunities for local businesses. With 5.6 million visitors in 2023 and a 1.5 million increase during the pandemic, unchecked tourism poses a threat to Hawaii's unique identity. Kupa'a seeks to foster respectful engagement and cultural understanding, embracing the aloha spirit among visitors. Kupa'a is a crucial tool for promoting sustainable tourism in Hawaii by educating visitors and encouraging responsible travel, helping to preserve the island's natural beauty and cultural heritage while maintaining the spirit of aloha among visitors. Mahalo.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions that we have for her here?
I really enjoyed your presentation. I was curious a little bit about these real-time alerts. What kind of alerts would they be, and how would you get that data or information?
So I wanted to incorporate this because when I was researching my project, I found a similar project that was going on which helped manage visitor numbers. And so the whole point of the real-time alerts was if the app senses that you're getting too close to sacred, like potential sites it'll help guide you away and be like, hey, check out this area instead, and it'll give you like education on it and how to become more familiar with the item. And this app was all about the reciprocal relationship, because we've all heard stories and news broadcasts of tourists and residents like going into protected sites and, well, not coming back. So I thought the real-time alerts will help them to stay safe and while also learning and exploring safely.
All right, any other questions that we have for her? Looks like we have one, Mr. Tate.
Thank you. I love this. We see this all the time. The challenge of tourist management, right? Is there anything incorporated in your app that would help to manage overburdening the site? And make this, some places are wonderful to go to. We gotta go there. We're visiting from Texas, and it's like it's mostly detrimental to that site because it's listed as important site to go to, and it's just like almost beat up because of overloading that site.
I feel like this app will help with the burdening of different island places, because when I was in Laulima last year, we went to a lot of places that were being destroyed because of overcrowding and a lot of people just coming in over and over. But I thought this app could also help that, because it could also have like different days that people can come and cannot come. And then there's also restoration groups that are going through processes of restoring and having residents like not allowed to come. And so I feel like if tourism is becoming such a broad thing, we should be able to welcome them into protecting the environment as well, and not just coming and stomping on our aina and taking pictures. And I feel like they can get hands-on as well to protect these spaces.
All right, thank you so much for that presentation. Thank you. All right, our next presentation is about multi-pods, restoring native habitats and removing invasive fish. And this is going to be Vivian Wong. If you could come up, Vivian, let's give her a hand. Thank you, Vivian.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vivian Wong, and I'm a student at Hawaii Baptist Academy. My project was actually inspired by a conversation I had with my dad. He taught me about the mo'i fish, famously known as fish of kings. He reminisced about catching and eating it with his friends, wishing he could again. That was a long time ago, before pollution and invasive species took over. It incited me to think of other native fish that fell victims to the same problems. My proposal, mo'i pods, uses natural ingredients to curate waters, providing cleaner homes for our native fish, while also reducing invasive fish through the compassionate community built here in Hawaii. I plan on 3 versions of this pod, but because of its stronger effect on native fish population, my main focus are the advanced pods. They are made up of loamy fine sea soil, crushed shells, biochar, molasses, limestone grit, rice bran, sawdust, and water. Together, these ingredients neutralize water, reduce contamination, improve clarity, and increase beneficial bacteria, restoring not only great native fish habitats, but also their population. The keiki pods will have a similar effect in water, but are easier to handle. Keiki pods will hopefully engage kids in helping the aina in a fun and educational way. Whether they mold it into a turtle or carve their name into it, they can make mo'i pods their own personal project. I remember in elementary school, I went on a field trip to remove invasive plants. And after, it was actually us students who initiated catching invasive catfish. Not only was it fun, it shows that as a community, we can directly tackle these issues at hand. Similarly, I envisioned hosting programs where schools, families, and tourists make the pods, remove invasive species, and celebrate by placing the pods in water. I expect that with this project, tourists don't just take from the land, but give back, restoring the waters that sustain us. Through mo'i pods, I aim for a future of thriving native fish and cleaner island waters that Hawaiians are proud to call their own. Let's save our waters so we can eat like kings. Thank you.
These are our awesome judges, and they're doing an amazing job. But also, please, as audience members, do feel we welcome your questions too.
Great presentation. I was curious about these beneficial bacteria. What kinds of bacteria are you trying to cultivate?
Oh yes, so in the advanced pods, if you can, a lot of the ingredients are meant to absorb these, I guess, metals, and if we can absorb the metals, I'm so sorry, but basically, if we can absorb the metals and then contain those certain contaminants inside the pods, so that they release beneficial bacteria to grow food or the things that native fish rely on, and then also by that it helps improve their population and also give back the advantage to native fish that they didn't initially have.
All right, another question here.
Thank you, great idea. I love the fact you're engaging younger kids to see the benefits of innovation and understanding the environment. Question I have for you is, you said there's other, I guess, competitors out there. What other approaches can we use? And this is a great idea of absorbing. You're trying to absorb heavy metals. Are there any other approaches that might be similar to yours?
I think that one of the special things about this project is the fact that we're inviting everyone into this. Like, also, I place an emphasis on tourists because now with social media, they're very inclined to help the island, and because we don't want tourists that just take from the island, we want them to also help. So if we create like a fun way to help the island, I think it could come and do workshops, make these pods, and go out there, explore, and maybe use that influence to influence other tourists who might come to this island and do the same as well, and promote that behavior.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Let's give her another round. All right, here is our next pitch, The Rescue Pen by Ella Lamb, Sarah Lee, and Kalea Santos. Let's give them a hand. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ella Lam.
My name is Sarah Lee.
And I'm Kalea Santos. We are a team from Kalani High School introducing our innovation of the rescue pen.
The problem that we're trying to address is allergic reactions in Hawaii. So in the US, around 225 deaths occur each year due to anaphylaxis, which is an allergic shock that comes with an allergic reaction. Around 60% of these deaths are from high school students who don't have access to their EpiPen during the time of an emergency. So we actually chose this project because one of our friends has very severe allergic reactions to eggs and peanuts and more. So his throat closes up, he has hives breaking out, and so it's really vital for him to have his EpiPen on him and accessible during that time.
This project aims to connect the patient with that severe allergic reaction along with first responders as quickly as possible so that way the patient can get treatment effectively and efficiently.
Although we initially created this innovation for our friend groups, it can also be expanded to anyone within the community, with those with ingestion or airborne allergies or anyone who owns an EpiPen.
So up here we have our second iteration of the Rescue Pen. This was designed using a computer-aided design software called Onshape. So it was designed using snap fit joints so that it is easily pull apartable in time in need when there's a need of an emergency, or you can also snap it back together when it's not in use, and it will stay together like that. So this was our second iteration. Instead of other EpiPen carriers that have a zipper that you need to unzip and then take out a tube that has an additional pulling system, this one you can just have it at your side, and then it's just one procedure. It's just pull, and then you can release your EpiPen right away.
A microbit will be attached to this tube carrier that will send a message to 911 through an app called Thunkable. This app will be able to send a message detailing the person's location, situation, and preferred contact number. Another button will also sound out an alert to alert bystanders of the situation so they can get help.
With the microbit extended onto our rescue pen, we're able to create a sense of community by raising awareness with those whose throat closes up or those with mobility or weakness during the time of the reaction. This creates more hospitality within the community and also effective and efficient communication between healthcare workers, emergency services, people around the community, and the patient itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions from the audience? About the rescue pen, okay.
Okay, so this is really interesting to me because more recently I stepped on a wasp nest and got stung by 15 of them. And so I was thinking about this and the safety of my students out in the field. So I'm curious, how would this work? Can you walk me through somebody having some kind of reaction and then the process of, when 911 is called and just a little bit more step by step. Mahalo for your presentation.
Right, so during an allergic reaction, the holder is actually able to have it on their side as Kalea is holding it right now. So it's attached to probably some belt buckle, and then if they have an allergic reaction, they can just twist and pull, and then their EpiPen will come out right away, exactly like that. And then they can administer their EpiPen into their thigh, and then this microbit will also be attached to the tube right over here. So one of the buttons, like Ella said, it's going to send a message, an automated message to 911 through text, actually, because they can't talk and their throat closes up. So we decided that text would be a more efficient way of doing it. So it'll send the location, the person's phone, contact information, and then also what kind of allergic reaction that they're having. So first responders will be able to look at that location and what's going on, and then send first responders to that location right away. This other button will also send out an alarm, so that bystanders around them can also know what's happening, and they can help administer the EpiPen or help call 911 additionally, so it'll help them a lot more. And it also raises awareness about allergic reactions and EpiPens.
So they push the button.
All right, we have a question here.
First off, I think it's really great that you're trying to help your friend, especially in life's potentially dangerous situation when help them be saved. I guess my question is, usually patients have an EpiPen, the doctor writes a prescription, and then that's how they get it. So, and it's also only good for so long that it expires. So, how do you think you would source the actual epinephrine device? Would you maybe work with manufacturers, the government, or have the patient gets their own EpiPen and it inserts it into your device that's more mobile, or just how would you source the actual life-saving part of the EpiPen?
The main part of our project was a tube carrier. However, we did contact first responders to get more information about EpiPens, and Kalea also works at a pharmacy, so she can reach out to people and manufacturers to help us with this.
All right, and then actually I had a question real quick. Have you guys timed the difference between the traditional, the EpiPen is in the thing, and you have to take it out, zip it, and do this, and then call 911 versus your device? Have you figured out the time difference between that?
We actually have not yet, but because we're currently in the process of trying to figure out how it can stay on all the time when it's not in use, right? Or a few weeks ago, our first iteration was actually able to withstand it for 30 minutes. So we're trying to fix up our computer-aided design to have those snap-in joints.
Yeah, although we don't have a specific timeline, we did actually contact emergency services. They said it would take around 15 minutes, and that's about the time that the EpiPen does wear off. So it's about the same timing that the EpiPen will wear off, that the first responders will be there to help further prepare for them.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, our next project here is Smart Community Greenhouses from Cooper Martin from Kalaheo High School. Let's give Cooper a hand. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cooper Martin. I'm a freshman at Kalaheo High School. My proposal is smart community greenhouses. 1 in 3 houses in Hawaii are food insecure, which means that 1 in every 3 houses aren't sure when their next meal will be, and or aren't eating enough. This is due to many reasons such as illness, job loss, insufficient income, unexpected income shock, transportation issues, and many more. In Hawaii, one of the main reasons for food insecurity is because 85 to 90% of food is imported, making prices a lot higher. I propose the development of smart community greenhouses that allow for sustainable farming technology and help to produce local, healthy foods. A smart community greenhouse is a greenhouse that uses high-tech sensors to optimize plant growth. They regulate heat, humidity, and light while also controlling the amount of moisture in the soil to supply the crops with the correct amount of water for growth. The smart greenhouses will be placed throughout communities on Oahu, and anyone who resides within these communities will have access. The community will be allowed to plant whatever they wish with limited oversight of how it is growing. Along with the sensors being placed in the greenhouse to optimize the growth of the plants, solar panels and water reservoirs will be placed on and around the greenhouses in order to keep it in line with Hawaii's renewable energy goals. The smart community greenhouses will allow for the community to share a place that grows local crops while blending sustainable practices with renewable energy goals and high-end greenhouse technology. While there are some food pantries that allow those with food insecurity to get help, not all of them allow everyone. For example, the Commodity Supplemental Food Program only allows those over the age of 60 to get help. And some only allow you to get help if your yearly income is under a certain salary. There would be risks involved with the greenhouses, such as being expensive, but if they are taken care of and the community works together to keep them, then there would be more positive impacts than negative impacts. It would be important that the greenhouses use Hawaiian sustainability goals and Hawaiian practices, because without these, they just become another new technological advancement that isn't connected to the community. Thank you. I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much. All right, I see a question over here already for you.
Thank you, I love this idea. I built these greenhouses. They are really expensive. And you might want to look at like state support, presentation to ledge to get community buy-in from your representatives, right? But question I have for you is, I guess you're looking at this as an alternative to import, which I think is awesome, right? Have you looked at a cost average of shipping, family living, and shipping food in or buying from the stores versus the cost, because they may have to have some subsidized situation to have this, to support this, right? So what's the cost benefit between, do you think we spend X amount of dollars on food versus we're gonna do this greenhouse thing, which I think is a great idea. I think it might be something to look at. I don't need an answer, that's something you might wanna think about.
Okay. I haven't looked into it, and I'm aware that they would be extremely expensive, but I was thinking that we could get money from corporate sponsors or reaching out to solar companies to help provide money to build them, which would make it less expensive for the community, because they would have to spend less on food, and they would just grow their own food.
We have another question here.
Great job. I was curious if, different crops have different needs, so how would that work in this greenhouse? Like the sensors, how are people involved with the sensors and these different crops? Just thinking about that.
So the sensors would be able to tell which plant is there, and it would have the information of what is needed in order for it to have the best growth, and then it would supply it with the correct amount of water and light so that it can grow to its best.
So no human input into this?
No, the only human input would be just checking on it regularly, or not regularly, but like checking on it every once in a while to make sure that it is still growing correctly and to make sure that it's like ready for harvest.
All right, we have one more question here.
I agree with the previous comment about land being expensive in Hawaii. So there are current community gardens that exist. What do you think about integrating into the current existing gardens?
So implementing the technology into the current ones. I think that could be a good idea, and then also, As far as where they would be placed if we didn't implement the technology into the current ones, we'd have to work with the Honolulu Department of Planning in order to see where they're needed most, and also to see where land is available.
All right, thank you so much, Cooper. Let's give him another round of applause. I'm gonna finally move the mouse, sorry about that. All right, so we have our next presenter here, the 3-in-1 fish cleaner. If you could give him a round of applause, here he is.
This tool combining a scaler, a cutting tool, and a retractable knife, and retractable knife with a tilting clip. This tool saves time, saves space, and keeps you prepared for every catch. For this tool I have here, I created an AI model of it. It has all the tools combined, and it will be produced in different sizes so that fishermen around the world can benefit from it. And so that because there's different sizes of fish, it will become different sizes. And thank you for listening to my presentation. And I'm open for questions now.
Thank you, Jensen. All right, any questions for him?
Biologist, not engineer, this engineering project, and I really liked your idea. I just would be curious of the images you present. I'm trying to see, because we've seen like the Swiss Army knife, we've seen the Leatherman, all these things, right? This is a fishing, really specific for fishing. Can you give me a little more specific, because it's up there on the screen, like, how does it work? Like what's where? Does it slide into something, does it be snapped or folded into something? How does it work?
Yeah, the knife folds in, and then on the gutter part, there's little ripples in the spoon, so that it makes scanning the fish easier. And it's going to be stainless steel too, so that it doesn't rust. Yes.
I see how it all folds. I see the carabiner on the image on the left. That one is its own tool. They kind of come together.
No, the knife is folded in on the other.
Question here.
Hey, this seems like a really interesting idea. What do you envision as the key benefit of this product? Like, would it maybe be manufactured in Hawaii and create jobs, or is it meant to save time for the fishermen? What do you envision as the key benefit?
The key benefit is to save time and save space for fishermen, so they don't have to carry 3 different tools all over the place when they go fishing. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give Jensen a round of applause. All right, so our next presenter is Aman Prasad, talking about A'o. Let's give him a hand.
Okay. Aloha mai kako. My name is Raman, and I'm from Palau Kikili. Now, what if there's a way to be able to show everybody else across the world how Hawaii has its own culture, and that we aren't a little piece of sand with a palm tree on it, or the usual perspective of paradise? And I might have an answer for you, and that would be technology, or more specifically, social media. Now, I've been very interested in creating videos online, watching them, doom scrolling, but anyways, besides the point. That's why I think it would be a really good idea to be able to connect with the younger generation and focus on the future, which hopefully will be technology. And with that, we'll be able to disperse multiple videos on social media and be able to go farther out, farther than before, instead of staying just in Hawaii. And we can even make them educational. Now, I don't have the exact answer, but this is a concept. And I think it would be a good idea because all of my friends definitely have their own phones or always watch something on YouTube or TikTok. TikTok, social media, all that. So that's why I think it would be a really good idea. In other words, a new perspective. And with that, thanks for watching.
All right, thank you so much, Ron. And this is our persuasive advocacy section, if you didn't catch that. So any questions for him here? All right, Ashley.
Were there any like content on social media that you saw that kind of inspired you to do this? Like you saw people promoting Hawaiian culture or like showing people like, oh, this is different from what you think or something?
Yeah. The thing is, it's kind of hard to find. I don't know why, but it's because I watch YouTube a lot, you see, and all the videos that I've seen, usually they talk about the Hawaiian culture, but they don't get some aspects right, some major aspects. And I think it would be way better if we could make more videos that are made for people from here that actually have experience, and we could keep focusing on that. So that's my experience with what I've seen.
Do you any other questions that we have for him about this idea?
When are you running for office? The date.
2030.
No, I love that your idea is broad, it's open, and you're right. A lot of the Hawaiiana perceptions of Hawaii are produced by folks that are here. And I think you're right, they do get some things. Wrong's not the word, there's just misunderstanding. So having clarity come from local folks here yourself would be very helpful, right? How, if I'm sort of a doom scrolling as a science teacher in high school, so as I'm scrolling, I'm looking through this, how would your tool, like how do you see me as a person, or you navigating through it? What does it look like? I mean, this is kind of pie in the sky, your pitch, right? And very persuasive, but how does it work? Let me give you just like your perspective.
So I'd like to add a little something I should have added before. For the youth part, I think that it would be good because media, like iPad kids and all that, media has been changing the future generations because they're on social media so much that they're learning from that. So if we could make educational videos, I was thinking more educational, but also entertaining at the same time, like instead of boring, like Hawaii actually is wrong. I think we could change it. So little kids will be excited about learning about our culture and the truth behind it. So I imagine videos being like, maybe not YouTubers like being all crazy like that, but people just make it entertaining and educational, and I don't know how long the videos could be, but yeah. And I'm pretty good with letting it be free roam. Also, online, you can do pretty much almost whatever you want. It's very, I don't know what the word is, but customizable.
All right, we have another question here.
So the idea is really great because we do want people to know our culture really well with the true representation, but it seems very general. So you know, like how Guy Hagi focuses on cheap eats and he goes to different places on the different islands and focuses on different type of food. Would you be going kind of like in that direction where you would focus on one particular part of the culture and then expand it outward? Or would you take the more general sense of our culture and then go inward? You know what I mean?
That's a good question. So, as I said, customizable. I think, yeah, whatever the algorithm wants, algorithm gets or whatever. But yeah, I think probably, you know how tourists always come here and then they are able to go on tourist activities or events? I was thinking maybe we could do that with videos. Like, maybe not a vlog, but sure, type of vlog. But yeah, I think what you said, that could be a possible type of video that we could do.
Broad and tight or tight and broad?
Maybe tight to broad, because we start off small and then we eventually expand on.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Great job. All right, here we have our next presentation about rain gardens for a better Hawaii. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Horner. I'm a ninth grader at PBA, or Pacific Blues Academy, and I am proposing to build a rain garden at my high school, PBA, as a first step towards building a rain garden on every home on Oahu that can help address the current water crisis that's in Hawaii. Water, or vai, is such a valuable resource, especially here in Hawaii, where clean water is limited, and there is a very real risk of not being able to keep up with the demands of our growing population. Rain gardens are water catchment systems that rely on pre-existing infrastructure, like roofs and roads, to capture water that would have gone to the ocean. They redirect the water into a shallow pond-like area that is specifically designed through layers of different materials to absorb that water at a steady pace that is usable to the plants in the garden and recharges the aquifer at the same time. By diverting rainwater away from storm drains, rain gardens can decrease water pollution. According to the Hawaii Department of Health, water runoff can contain pollutants like sediment, fertilizer, fecal matter, toxic chemicals, oils, and so many more pollutants that eventually end up in our ocean. If designed right, rain gardens can even catch up to 80% of water sediment. By diverting water away from storm drains, rain gardens can also decrease the pollutant, can also provide much needed fresh water for our state. Conservative calculations based on the data from the state government estimate that each single family's home's roof in Honolulu catches between 13,000 to 55,000 gallons of water per year. This means that in total, between 2 and 8 billion gallons of water could be captured from just roofs of single-family homes in Honolulu. Water that will otherwise just end up in storm drains and go to the oceans. This is enough to offset up to half of Honolulu's nearly 16 billion gallons of water that are used every year. By building a rain garden at my high school, I plan to educate others about rain gardens and use it as a proof of concept to show others that this is feasible and how to do it easily. I hope that by teaching others, we can work towards the goal of having a rain garden in all homes to build a better future for Hawaii through water conservation and management. Thank you for listening to my talk.
Thank you so much, Brian. Any questions for him? All right.
Just curious if you were envisioning something like how we have the, solar panels? You can like sell a portion of your electricity. If houses were to catch this rainwater, were you thinking of if they didn't have like a garden of their own, they could sell it somehow to the state, something like that?
I was thinking more of along the lines of the water that they catch is an investment into their future because it goes back into the aquifer. So a little water, nearly a third of all water dropped, only a third goes into the aquifer, right? So nearly 2/3 washes into the ocean or is evaporated. So less of a sell-back system and more of a, like, you're investing in yourself.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for him? Oh, Auntie Ellie.
Yes. My question is, I've been putting buckets to catch the rainwater instead of getting the barrels. And I know they had a contest on rain gardens for Board of Water Supply, but when I thought about it, how do you keep the mosquitoes from not growing in that? Because my buckets have mosquitoes, so I have to get rid of the water to water my plants.
This picture is a little bit misleading because it was right after a storm, but normally it would absorb fast enough that the mosquito larva wouldn't have the chance to hatch if it was designed right.
Therefore, all your garden plants have to be in that hole. Because I have like fruit trees and different things. How do I get it from there to water the other plants?
Well, they would be planted around the garden, and it's specifically designed, right, so that it absorbs and it can spread out instead of moving too fast. So in theory, it would be able to sprout more, but it would have to be based around the hole or the shallow.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, so our next presenter in this persuasive advocacy category here, we have Javier Garza about taking public health into our own hands. Let's give him a round of applause.
Aloha, my name is Javier Garza, and I'm 15 years old, and I go to Kalaheo High School in Kailua. In the present state of our nation, our current Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., has put our nation's health at risk. He's spreading misinformation and not using established evidence to prove his claims. The United States are not so united anymore in the sense of public health. States are being left to make public health decisions on their own, but luckily our governor, Josh Green, has entered into an alliance with the governors of California, Oregon, and Washington called the West Coast Health Alliance. This alliance ensures all residents within these states are provided with unified recommendations about immunization and other health-related topics based on evidence-based science and not political ideologies. Our governor has always advocated for access to healthcare for all. Governor Green has an undergraduate degree in both biology and anthropology, and as well as a medical degree. With his background in medicine and public health and his leadership as our current governor, he makes sure families in the state of Hawaii have access to life-saving vaccines to improve our health and well-being. He ensures that all public health decisions are guided by rigorous scientific evidence and not by political ideologies. He works with his local and county officials to ensure that public health guidelines are readily available and locally tailored to be easily understood and they are culturally relevant. Each of us should consider where we get our health information from and how credible it is, and what is the best way to protect our own health as well as the health and well-being of our families and communities. Hawaii is a great example of the importance of states taking public health issues into their own hands. Thank you.
So much. Any questions for me?
Scared me, I ran the picture show. Thank you for this presentation, and I guess question I have for you, I mean, thank you for doing your research, digging in deep, and presenting us with some information. If you were governor, right, and you know it's government problem. What would you do? Because Josh, I know Josh, he got an MD, he went to, I mean, he was a governor as a doctor, as a medical doctor, right? What steps would you take?
Steps that I take to protect our public health. I don't know, probably just like make sure that all of our, so like right now there's like many like issues with our current like, you know, RFK's like doesn't believe in vaccines or whatever, so there's just that sense of like misinformation, or like now we like don't have that like CDC that's as reliant as it used to be, that's providing true information. So we have to kind of outsource to our local county officials, and hopefully they will present us the correct information that is not wrong or biased towards political ideology. So hopefully it's culturally relevant to us and make sure it's the right information.
Well, when you're running I'm cast my vote, and what steps would you take? What would you do to help us?
To help us, I would just doing a good job right now, but I would also ensure that I would like help other states take the steps into doing that as well. Guiding other states into believing what is right and not what is guided by political ideas. So I would just, you know, like we have our West Coast Health Alliance, I would maybe offer to other states to join the alliance and become part of our family and like our public health. Like so all of our guidelines are like have more evidence to support the ideas.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next presenter. Let's give some rounds of applause. All right, so this is going to be the last one in our persuasive advocacy category. So this is understanding and combating Hawaii's rising sea levels with Michael. Let's give him a hand.
Hello, my name is Michael, and my project is understanding and combating Hawaii's rising sea levels. So, why are sea levels rising? Well, this is because the ice caps on the North and South poles are being melted by the ocean and the air temperatures, which are rising because of the greenhouse gases keeping the sun energy in our atmosphere and thermal radiation from the small things like AC units to big things like electrical plants. So my focus in Hawaii is the electrical plant on the west side. It uses a once-through cooling system, which not only as an electric plant, it releases carbon into our atmosphere, but at the same time, it's taking water from the ocean, using it to absorb heat from the heat that's being used to make the electricity, and then it puts the heated water back in the ocean, which heats the ocean even more, which leads to more melting of the ice caps. So what is the sea levels, the rising sea levels been doing? It's been causing erosion, like at Sunset Beach, where it's been causing erosion. As you can see, houses are falling in the ocean. We've been seeing more flooding in recent years after big storms. And what we can do to combat this is taking once-through cooling systems and turning it into recycling systems where they reuse the water over and over again, and it's more efficient and helps the environment more. Or we can skip that and move all the way to solar panels, which take energy from the sun, as we know, and turn it into usable energy. This will stop the melting of our ice caps and keep erosion away and save our coasts.
Thank you so much, Michael. Any questions for him? All right.
Great presentation. I see you gave an example of electric beach or the electric power plant on the west side, but as well as like I know it's distributing hot water into the ocean, but it's also providing ocean life too. Because I've scuba dived there at Electric Beach, and the further you go offshore, there's where the water comes out. There's lots of oceanic life like turtles and eels and stuff. So, I mean, I guess it's heating up our ocean as well, but it's not like we're like one little thing. It's not like, I mean, I guess there's a global impact, but there's other issues as well. What are some other issues that you think you could also work with to improve erosion as well?
Well, with the erosion part, we can the illegal sandbags that were caught a couple years ago. We could enforce stricter laws on that. With all the marine life, it's actually known that warmer water takes oxygen out of the water, making it less suitable for living for marine species. And I think that if we can cool down the ocean, it might even bring more animals to it.
All right, one more question here.
Thank you for presenting this really critical issue, especially here in Hawaii, right? We're an island state. How would you address someone saying that what we're doing is band-aiding the problem and not addressing the issue, right? If the issue you said was you said greenhouse gases, right? But now maybe we move farther away from the ocean and our houses at the outside again. Maybe city planners say, you know, it's illegal to build so close. Like, if you were the city manager, like, what steps would you take to ensure safety? Because really, I work for NOAA, and our one job is to protect the community, right? What steps would you take, right? That's why I use Band-Aid versus address the real issue, and something you should think about. But what steps would you take?
I would make sure that all people that have a house near the ocean would have a secondary place to stay if something were to happen.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's give them another round of applause. All right, last but certainly not least, this is in our technology category. Again, this is Laulima Aina, Hawaii's Innovation Against Carbon Emissions by Michelle Lee, and she's making her way up here now, so let's give her a round of applause.
Hi guys, I'm Michelle from David World School, and this is Laulima Aina, Hawaii's Innovation Against Carbon Emissions. My proposed project is a solar-powered device that filters carbon dioxide from air and turns it into powder. This filter would be like a cap on carbon emissions like factory exhaust and vehicles and anything that releases carbon dioxide into the air. And the expected outcome is reduce the CO2 in the air with the solar-powered device. And with the powder carbon, we're able to recycle it and make products like lead, plastics, and other building materials. With this, the community will be cleaner and enhance air quality, and reduce global warming, preserve marine life on coral reefs, and restore life on our island. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Any questions for her? We have one here.
Great presentation. I'm curious about the CO2 turning into powder. Can you describe that process of what the powder actually is?
So, with the filter, it's made out of MOF, which is metal organic frameworks. And with this, the filter will let oxygen and other gases go through while filtering the carbon and turning that into powder. And because gas is the molecules are spread out, the filter will have to be microscopic, so it's it filters it.
All right, thank you. One more question here.
Hey, I'm curious about the device itself. Can you describe it a little bit more? Like, is it something that people can put residentially on their roof, like it's attached to a solar panel, or is it more like businesses put it on top of their roof and then on the cars?
It's more for the exhaust, factory. It's like a cap. It's gonna go on it, and then there's an extra box on the side that stores the carbon. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
All right, let's give her a hand. Thank you so much, Michelle, for closing us out today. All right, so that marks our final proposal in this room for today, and we're going to get ready for lunch in just a little bit here. We'll hear from our MC and also from Nakoa. Thank you so much. Great job, everybody. Let's give all the students one more round of applause. It's nerve-wracking, right?
All of the presenters today, could you guys please come to the front? We're going to take a group picture, please. Also, parents, feel free to tag Honua Scholars on Instagram, and we will repost you. We're trying to get more engagement, in this new social world. So